Let's say you got insulted by someone. The shul didn't give you an aliyah, right? So you could feel like, got insulted, I got depressed, got sad, I wasn't respected, I wasn't valued in the shul, I was supposed to get an aliyah, everyone else got an aliyah, I didn't get one, right? You walk home, shul. On your way home, Menachem, you go to yourself, listen, I could stay down and come into the house depressed and saying, have a bad day in shul, and have a really poor lunch with my wife and grandchildren. Or I can say to myself, 1 second, who am I? Who am I? Second. Ani Yosef. I'm Menachem. Who is Menachem? Compassionate. Enter into the space called the soul state, the neshama state of my compassion. 1 second. I am an expression of Hashem's electricity. Hashem is the source of compassion. Rachum v'chanun. He breathed into me Menachem. That's your name, Menachem. Sensitivity, compassion. Menachem, breathe into me compassion. Who am I? I'm compassionate. Am I gonna let something that happened to my ego, my feelings, bring me down away from who I really am, which is my compassion? Am I gonna allow that to happen? Allow my ego to dictate who I am? Or am I gonna go to Ani Yosef? Am I gonna go to my soul, not my mind? My mind has a JPEG attached to it, a picture saying, you're being dissed, you're not good enough, you didn't get an aliyah, right? And you could go with your mind down into your emotions down into your body, and your body can say, oh, I'm depressed. It's a bad day, need to sleep it off for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, it'll be down. Or you can say, who am I? Mi ani, I am Menachem. I am compassionate. That's who I am. And get into the zone of experiencing my compassion. Walk into the house and say, hi, Kachavas, how are you? I'm rising above the bore, rising above my nefesh, my body, rising above my depression, because I go up here, right? I go up here. I go from here up to here by being aware of my wheel of strengths, really who I really am, my essence, my intellect, my social skills, my midos, which is the key, my midos, my personality, my spirituality, my contribution to family, and I'm growing. And you know what? I don't have to stay down in the bore. I can rise above this negativity. I can rise above my ego, which is based on my intellect, my seichel, and go to my soul. Am I a seichel or a soul? Who am I? When I get in the zone of Ani Yosef was a person of MS, person of self-control, self-restraint. If he write, 1 second, am I going to give in to my chushim, my sensual desires, and go after this Potiphar's wife? Or I'm going to go, who am I? Ani Yosef, Ha'od Avichai. You know where I get it from? Ha'od Avichai, from my father. When I say to you, Menachem, go to your compassion, you're getting that from God. You're tapping into the electricity source, which is Hashem, and Hashem made you compassionate. So be it. When you're compassionate, what happens to the insult? When you are in the zone of being compassionate because Hashem made you compassionate, and you have then at that moment a dvekus, a relationship with God, knowing how God made you, right? What happens to your depression of being dissed but not getting aliyah? What happens, Menachem?
It goes away.
Why? Why does it go away?
Because you transcended.
You transcend. Why do you transcend? Help me, ladies and gentlemen. When you are able to focus on really who you are, in Menachem's case, it is compassion. Someone else, tell me who you are. What is your best midah? That which defines you, which expresses God's electricity in the world. Who are you? Give me an example. Resilience, right? Nakeh, resilience. So if you tap into resilience, and Hashem is the only one who is resilient, He's the source of resilience in the world. Your relationship with God is that you tap into His resilience and you experience resilience. That's the air conditioner. That's the prism of resilience. That's the color of strength, of revival within yourself. Resilience. Why? Nothing bothers Hashem. We can insult Him. We can do chatoim. We can disconnect with Him. Does God get insulted? He bounces back no matter what. He's the source of resilience. So when you breathe in resilience. Breathe in, get in the zone of resilience. Let it go through your being. Experience it. Don't just think it. I'm not talking about thinking now. I'm experiencing it. 1 second, resilience. Let it go through all your cells, all your molecular structure, your DNA, your being, When you're in that zone of dvekus, of connection to Hashem, what happens to what happens to the insult? What happens to the depression? What happens to the sadness? What happens to the feeling of brokenness? Why? Why does it dissipate? Why do you transcend it? When you're in that zone, why does it go away? Why? Do it. Let's do it. Go to that place. Experience it. You're up here, Ani Yosef. Look down at the depression. You're up here now. You're in the zone of compassion, a zone of resilience. You're in the zone of leadership. You're in the zone of chen, sensitivity. I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone of truth. And I feel connected to Hashem. And you then at that moment are experiencing the flow of God's electricity through your being, which means Hashem's midos, which are flying through your being, which are coursing through your being at that moment. At that moment of dvekus, you're connected to Hashem. You're up here. You look down at the depression. What happens when you look down from up here, from the true self, down here to the bore? What happens?
You say, why do I want to be down there?
Why do you say that? Why do you say to yourself, Menachem, why do I want to be down there? Why are you able to say that question from here down there to your depression, sadness, brokenness, bad mood? Why are you able, because of your compassion and connection to Hashem, you look down and you go, why do I want to be down there? Why do you want to be down there?
Well, the answer is, if you can be in a good mood, why be in a bad mood?
Why be in a bad mood? You know why? Because there's a difference between I and me. I is the soul state, is the connection to Hashem. Me is my ego. Here is me. Here is me, my ego. My ego made up of my feelings and my body. And partly part of my intellect also is part of that, according to the Maral, according to the Ramchal, that the intellect and the emotions are part of the nefesh. It's incredible. He says the mind and the imagination are part of the nefesh, not part of the neshama. The Ramchal in the Perek Aleph, in Shar Aleph, says that the mind is not part of the neshama. It's separate from the neshama. It's part of the nefesh, part of the body. The mind is part of the body, the intellect and imagination. Which means that it's only a functionary, it's only a machine. The mind is only a machine. But you are a neshama, you are an expression of electricity from Hashem. That's what you are. When you experience that connection to Hashem, and you're in that zone, you are in the I of self. I, the letter I. And you look down at the me and say, what are you doing down there? Why do you want to be down there? Oh, what does the me say? What does the me answer to the I? The me and the I are having a dialogue. The me says to the I, what? What? I'm justified. Why am I justified to being down here and being depressed and upset? Why?
They should respect me.
They should respect me. They should respect me. Me. They didn't respect me. They insulted me. I didn't get the aliyah. My husband didn't say I looked good. My wife didn't say, hey, you did a good job with the kids. I'm getting dissed here. What part of me is getting hurt? What part of me gets me depressed? The ego. The ego is part of the nefesh. But if you go, who am I? Who am I? I'm a soul. So in mathematics, in geometry, we have this thing called the x-axis, which has numbers on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have -1, -2, -3, 4. And we also have the y-axis. When I get insulted, I am insulted on the x-axis. The ego exists on the x-axis. Because these are numbers of time. 1 o'clock, now 9 o'clock. So at 9 o'clock, I met somebody who insulted me. That happens in time. In a moment of time, when a body in time, my nefesh in time, felt insulted at a certain particular point in time in an hour, 9 p.m., or 9 a.m., 10 a.m., didn't get my aliyah in time, 10 a.m. this morning. My nefesh, my body, at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. did not get what it wanted. So my ego gets depressed. My x-axis goes over here. If you go to your y-axis, Menachem, go to the y-axis. Y-axis is above time. Hashem is above time. Hashem melech, Hashem malach, Hashem yimloch. He's beyond time. If I tap into Hashem who's beyond time, and I leave the world of the ego, which is in time, I'm entering the y-axis, which is the axis of what? What would you call this? Y-axis. This dvekus with Hashem.
Intellect.
No, beyond the intellect is part of the ego. This is the soul, the neshama. I call it consciousness. When you enter the world of consciousness, when you wake up, get woke, right? Stay woke. That's the name of my book outside, called Stay Woke and Ignite Your Soul. Stay woke and ignite your soul. When you're woke, when you're totally conscious and awake to your relationship with Hashem, then you're automatically out of what? Out of your bad mood. Because your bad mood is only in my ego. And I rise above into my soul state, into my relationship with God. A relationship with Hashem is not only on Yom Kippur, not only when you have a chasana of your child or a bar mitzvah. A relationship with Hashem is every day, every moment, whenever you let Him in. What does that mean, whenever you let Him in? Whenever you are conscious of God. And when is that? When is it? When do you have an opportunity to be conscious of Hashem? When? When?
Every minute.
Every minute. It's up to you. But this is hard to do. Right? As the proverbial statement it goes, right? Easier said than done. Right? Yeah, no kidding. Right? Easier said than done. Yeah, really. Go to my dvekus state? Sure, Rabbi. That's great. Yeah. But I'm living in my ego. I'm living in the real world. You're talking about some sort of airy-fairy, some sort of highfalutin state. No, I'm not. I'm talking about the ongoing dialogue between my ego and my soul. But we have to become aware that we have a soul, we have a consciousness. And if you want to work hard and get there, you can get there. Right? But it's an avodah. Avodas Hashem. Serving God is an avodas Hashem. The natural state of being is, I'm going to be down there. Oh, my natural state of being is life is going to take me down. My natural state of being is, I am going to go for my emotions right down here. And I'm going to be down here all the time, 15 times a day. And Hashem gave us an awareness, a consciousness of relationship with Him, which can bring us up here, which is not the intellect. Not the intellect. Because I asked you before, well, what are the wheel of strengths? And you said, well, I have an intellect, right? So I said, well, part of the wheel of strengths is my intellect. I am logical, I learn, I read, right? That's my intellect. And these are my friendships. Well, that's my emotions. But this isn't. This dimension of the wheel of strengths is the soul. This is part of the nefesh, the intellect, social skills. Even perhaps, maybe spirituality is a hybrid. And family is part of my ego. But this is the key. The midah tova that Hashem gave you, when you're conscious of it, and you work on it daily, and you work on it. And when I work on it is in Shemona Esrei, 3 times a day. When I say, Hashem sfasai tiftach ufiki tolesecha, begin Shemona Esrei, I stop. And before I begin Shemona Esrei, and the Gemara in Brachas Daf Ches says that we should not go right at the Shemona Esrei. Take 3 steps back, 3 steps forward. It says we should wait the time it takes to go shtei delatois. Gemara says you should go wait until it takes the time it takes to walk 2 doorways, which is 8 amos, which is about 10 seconds or 15 seconds. I take a little longer. Why? Because you can't just, Shemona Esrei, go from the hustle bustle of the ego and enter into the soul. You just can't go. That's not davening. That's not Shemona Esrei. Shemona Esrei is this. I'm stepping out of my ego, stepping into my soul state. I have to put myself in that state. 1 second, let me just think. Hold on, let me get there. Hold on. And I imagine my most beautiful place. Imagine your most beautiful place. Where's your most beautiful place? My beautiful place is Ein Gedi. And every Shemona Esrei, I take 3 steps back, 3 steps forward, I go to Ein Gedi, I watch the waterfall. And to me, the waterfall is me. Why? The waterfall, to me, is creative. It's water, rocks, moss, pool of water goes this way. What I'm seeing is me. So I go to the waterfall, I put myself in my soul state, which is my creativity. That's my strongest trait, is creativity. I go to see my creativity. Then I bring it down. Baruch. I bring down the creativity from Hashem. He's the source of creation. He's the creator. He made me a little bit creative with ideas and thoughts, right? So I bring it down. He's the source. He's the Avichai. He is Avichai. I am the Yosef. Ani Yosef. Hod Avichai. My father is alive. I bring down Menachem. You bring down Chesed. Chain. You bring it down. He's the source, Hashem. You bring it down. You bring down resilience. Tap into it. Hashem's source of resilience. Bring it down, Baruch. That's what Berech means. Baruch means you're the source. Baruch doesn't mean I bless you, God. It means Hashem is the source of blessing. Chaim Volozhiner in Nefesh HaChaim, first chapter 1, Perek 1, Shar Aleph, Perek Aleph and Perek Beis, says Hashem is the brecha, the bracha, the source. Bring it down, Baruch. And I bring down the source into myself. I bring down my creativity. You bring down your resilience. You bring down your rachum v'chanun. Bring it down, Baruch. Ato. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me. Hashem, let me serve you with my creativity today. So Baruch, I tap into the source. Ato. I'm humbled and I thank you, Hashem, for giving me my personality, my sense of godliness. Hashem, please allow me to serve you with my creativity today. Please allow me to serve you with my rachum v'chanun. Please allow me to serve you with my resilience today. Because I'm going to be tested. What's going to be tested? My ego. My ego is going to be tested with this all day long, up and down 15 times. And if I remember who I am, I gain consciousness. When I'm hurt, when I'm depressed, when I'm sad, angry, in pain, anxious, my ego brings me into the depression, into the bad mood, and I'm no longer connected to myself. My ego makes me think on myself because I'm hurt. Feels very real. Ouch, that hurts. I'm really depressed. I'm really angry. I'm really sad. I can't get out of bed. That's very real. That's the ego state. 1 second, work hard. Put yourself here, and that's why we have to work on it every day in Shemona Esrei. You can do it meditating. You can meditate on your beautiful place. And there's a correlation between your beautiful place and your highest midah. For me, the correlation between Ein Gedi and my creativity is the fact that it's a creative place. For me, it looks like creativity. Water and cliffs, right? Your beautiful place may be water, beach, right? Where's your beautiful place? Water, beach, right? Why is your beautiful place water? What's the correlation between water and I bet you your personality is connected to, when you see water, it represents the idea of flow, of giving, of compassion, of flowing and giving of yourself. So that's your midah of chesed, chen, rachum, v'chanun. That's your midah. When you go to your beautiful place in Shemona Esrei and you go to my beach self. My beach self is my chesed, my flowing self, my giving. The water flows, waves flow, they give. That's your giving self. Tap into it, be it, experience it. Then bring it down, Baruch. I bring down my giving self, Atah. Thank you, Hashem. Let me serve you with my giving self today. And then the next 4 or 5 hours after Shachris, after Mincha, you're going to experience challenges of the ego, and the ego is going to say to you, be depressed. And the consciousness will say to you what? Ani Yosef, Hod Avichai. I can rise above the bore, the pit, the dungeon that I was in. And when Yosef was brought up out of the dungeon, he was Melech al Kol Mitzrayim. He was Melech al all the Klipos. He became Malchus over himself. He was the king over himself. He was king over Mitzrayim. I become Mitzrayim. I become Meitzar Yam. Yosef brought himself up to the be above Mitzrayim. From the pit in the same day. Isn't it incredible? He was in the morning in the dungeon in the pit, and in the afternoon he was the second in command of Egypt. What does that mean? It means that any one given moment of the day we can be in the dungeon and we can be king of Egypt and queen of Egypt. And Yosef married Potiphar's wife's daughter. And Potiphar's wife was Dinah. And Dinah's daughter was the one that Yosef married. He married his niece. Potiphar's wife was, or one of his wives, was Dinah. And Dinah had a daughter, the daughter of Potiphar. And Yosef married her, married his own niece. And he was able to rise above and bring Ephraim and Manasseh into the world because he rose above his ego and became Ani Yosef Ha'od Avichai. We all are Yosef, and we can say to ourselves, Ani Yosef Ha'od Avichai. Yes, my father is alive. Why? My father is my highest self from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he breathed into me my either Hashem consistency, my Kale, my leadership, my Rachum, my compassion, my Chanun, my Chen and sensitivity, my Erech Apayim, my patience, my Rav Chesed giving, my MS, honesty, integrity, my Notzer Chesed creativity, my Chata'av and Akeh, my giving up of resentment, my forgiveness of forgiving my spouse and my children, my neighbors, and the shul who didn't give me an aliyah, and my Nakeh, my resilience. That comes from the source, Od Avi, from my father. That's called consciousness. When we work on that every day in Shemona Esrei, and that's why on Shabbos is a day where we have to reflect on how I become that person this week. Sheish Yamim Talavu V'Sizkom L'Achtecha, says Ramosha, my Rebbe, 6 days you shall work, and the 7th day you shall rest. Means 6 days you shall work on yourself. And the 7th day you rest and reflect on the person that I've become. I worked on myself all week. I worked on my resilience. I worked on my chesed. I worked on my creativity. I worked on my leadership all week long. And on Shabbos, I don't do any work, of course, because I'm working on myself. I'm working on, who am I? Who have I become? That is the way in which we can talk ourselves out of a bad mood, by being conscious of the godliness within yourself. That's not ego. That's not intellect. That's your soul state, neshama state. That is your highest self. That's your godly self. That's your dvekus. Your connection to Hashem. That's consciousness. That's being alive. That's really being alive. When you're connected to Hashem, you're really alive. When I'm in my ego, I'm not alive. I'm just going through the motions. I'm just functioning. I'm just going through the motions. But when I'm conscious and I get into the capital R reality, the Metzius of Hashem, then I'm alive. Then I can talk myself out of a bad mood anytime you want to. So I invite you to take this home. Take this home. Work on it. I invite you to take this wheel of strength, put it on your fridge. Put a copy of it next to your computer. Put a copy in your notebook, your handbag or your wallet. Put it around. Remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself, work on it. Our natural state is going to want to go back to the ego. And our job, our avoda, is to connect with Hashem by thinking about this and talking ourselves out of a bad mood at will. It takes practice. But if you work on it, I believe that you will succeed. Questions, please.
Yeah, for example, a simplified example of a guy not giving you an aliyah. You can talk yourself out of a bad mood and you will probably forgive the person for that because maybe it was 6 yards out. But let's say someone commits a very serious transaction against you or your family and it's really not forgivable. How do you get out of that?
Okay, so you're asking, when you have an aliyah and you didn't get the aliyah, so someone's upsetting you, so you can get out of that mood. What if something happens that is...
I can forgive the guy. I'm saying that if you can't forgive someone, how can you get out of that mood?
Okay, so if something is unforgivable, okay, give me an example of something which is unforgivable. If how can you forgive something that is unforgivable? What is unforgivable?
Example, somebody thinks that living daylights out of your daughter. I mean...
someone who assaults me or assaults a family member.
Correct.
Okay? So if I am going to be justifiably angry, my ego is going to be very angry at that person, right? I could stay angry and be in my anger state for weeks, months, years, forever if I wanted to, right? Is that going to allow me to achieve my destiny by living in my anger because of what this person did? I'm not going to forgive him, meaning I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to get a bodyguard or make sure that my family member will get a better alarm system, or I'm going to have a bodyguard, but I'm not going to forgive that person. But I am in my own mind not going to be consumed by anger, because what will happen if I am consumed by anger against the world and bitter against the world if that happened? What's going to happen to me?
You're going to hurt yourself.
I'm going to hurt myself. So therefore, I'm not forgiving that person. I'm just moving on in my own mind, in my own soul. I'm going to continue being me and achieving my potential. But if I allow this anger, and it's justifiable, my anger is justifiable, and I do have an anger, I do have an ego, which is justifiably angry at this situation. But it's not me. It doesn't define. I'm not going to allow that event to define me. It happened. It hurts. It's painful. But I'm not going to stay down there. So what I'm saying is there is an ego. And we have an ego and we can fluctuate from our ego up to our true self. But I'm not saying to discount the ego. I'm saying to rise above the ego. Why? Because if I stay angry, I'm not going to allow myself to achieve my potential in life. I'm going to be steeped in anger. So I'm going to take steps to make sure that I fix that mistake that person did to me. I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to deal with that person. I'm going to get a protection order against that person, a restraining order. I'm going to get a bodyguard. But I'm going to continue my work as being a menachem, who is a person who is chesedic and kind and being involved. I'm not going to become a bitter person because that person makes this world a bitter place and a terrible place, and therefore I'm not going to do anything for the chesed for the community anymore. I'm not going to be a happy person anymore. I'm not going to be a good person anymore. You know why? Because this person dissed me and hurt my family, and therefore I'm going to be bitter the rest of my life.
So you're saying it's possible to differentiate between your personal emotional feelings and, on the other hand, granting forgiveness to this person.
That's correct. I'm saying that you can differentiate between the ego and anger feelings and rise and continue my destiny, continue my work in this world, even though that this event happened and my ego is hurt by it. But I don't have to be down in that bad mood. I can take steps to overcome it and to deal with it in the real world, in reality. But I'm going to continue my journey and not be sidetracked because I'm not going to let that person have control of it. Do you believe in free will?
I personally believe in free will.
Yes. Do you believe in free will?
Yeah.
So why would you and I, give up my free will to this attacker and allow this attacker to take away my free will of being who I'm supposed to be? Why am I giving him so much power? What?
Because it's probably on your mind,
It's on my mind, Menachem. It's on my mind. And it's on my emotions, and it's on my feelings. That's right. It's on my mind. It's in my ego. Am I my ego? So on my ego level, I'm going to deal with the situation. I'm going to do the best I can to deal with it. But I'm not going to let that define me. My I defines me. Avi, my father defines me. Hashem defines me. I'm not going to allow anything anybody did to define me. That happened. Okay, I'm sorry that happened. It's hurtful? Yes, it's hurtful. You insulted me, you hurt my feelings? Yes, I get that. That's my ego. Am I going to allow that to define me? If I do that, I'm giving up my free will. My free will is my destiny to become what Hashem wants me to become, to achieve my potential. So if I'm going to allow my ego to make me angry or keep anger in me for the rest of my day, week, month, years, and become a bitter person because of that, what happened to me, no matter what happened to me, then I am going to allow my ego to define me. I am not defined by my ego. I'm defined by my soul. My soul is my God-given destiny. And my God-given destiny is a reflection of my best midah that Hashem gave me. That's electricity Hashem gave me. I am the air conditioner. I am the prism, and I'm giving that. I'm not going to let somebody derail me from my destiny.